Behind every brand, every movement, every leader, every transformation, there's a story. And intertwined in these stories is a message. And this podcast is for you, the next gen leader, coach, entrepreneur, and influencer. My name is Travis Brady, and I'm a branding mentor and sales story strategist. I hope you see me more of a guide than a host as I share the stories behind the brands, so you can take these stories, experiences, principles, and teachings and use them to share your story with the world. And what's up, guys? Welcome to the story behind the brand. We got a powerhouse woman on here today that's built an incredible following on social media. Content's funny, it's entertaining, and it appeals to a lot of the guys because it's all about fishing. Jordan Jones, I remember back in 2010, meeting you at Lifetime Fitness.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been 15 years. I can't believe time's gone by so fast. So I thought, let's have her on the podcast, talk about, the mindset behind building her, her brand and, what you have up to, but go ahead and fill in the gaps. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah. So, I started social media all from fly fishing. And so years ago, I grew up fishing and camping and stuff. And, my whole childhood was outdoors, dune buggies, all the fun stuff, three-wheelers way back in the day.
Yeah.
All the fun stuff. But I grew up fishing, all the time with my dad, especially. And, baby of five kids in my family. And I was super tomboy always growing up. I always hung out with the boys. I was always, doing sports or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so in my 20s, I was fishing just a Rapala and a spinner on Provo River all the time. And it was just like any other fisherman or fisherwoman, that's our place, right? We're stressed. We have something going on. We're going to go hit the river. We're going to go fish.
Yeah.
Throw a line. And so I started fishing with just a spin rod and Rapalas. And anyways, I ended up going on this date with a guy at the time, and I went with him and his dad. And we went fly fishing, and we didn't even catch anything, but with being in the river, being in waders, and the art of fly fishing is so beautiful. Have you ever done it, Travis?
I've never done fly fishing, but like you, I grew up fishing and hunting and, the whole tent stuff. And now I'm just I want to do the glamping stuff. Now I'm I've been there, done that. Someone was telling me about Burning Man, and I was like, that sounds horrible, going out there and camping. And, one of my friends went this last year. Have you ever been there before?
No, but it's on my list. I want to do it.
Is it? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe if it was super bougie, I don't know. I feel like I got so much of that, as a kid growing up. It's out of my system, type of thing. My son is way into fishing, and, he keeps saying, when are we going to go fishing with with Grandma and Grandpa Brady? It's just the cutest thing.
That's cute. I love it. Yeah.
So when did this actually turn into, okay, I'm going to take this thing that I love and actually start pushing out on Instagram and making it into a brand?
Yeah. So after that date I had gone on, that time I had out there, I went on my way home and I went and bought my own waders. And at the time there wasn't as much women's gear. So I bought men's waders and boots, and they were a little big or whatever. And I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. And I just started going fishing, and I was posting about it because I just had my little family page with me and I only had my oldest son at the time. I have 3 boys now, but my oldest at the time. And I started posting about me out there fly fishing. And then finally I caught my first fish one day, reeling in from the river. And I was like, yes, I did it. And it was total accident, but I was so excited. And anyways, I started posting about it. And then I started posting, and I was already taking my son fishing on our page a ton. But the fly fishing, for some reason, started to blow up on Instagram and Snapchat as well, which is weird. I've had Snapchat forever. And it's kind of funny because that used to be a platform for people that was nobody liked Snapchat because we all know what it was used for. Yeah. But now it's creators are moving over there because of all the ad space, and you can become a Snap star and make a ton of money, right? But anyways, so I grew the Instagram and the Snapchat just from being, I think, a woman in the outdoors at the time that was not as popular as it's becoming. Mm-hmm. And that's how stuff just started to grow. And I connected with a lot of, people that were outdoorsy, and even other women that were like, oh, I want to learn how to fly fish. Let me come out with you. And it was really cool.
So, yeah. I saw you connect with my boy, Heath Treasure.
Yeah. He's awesome.
Yeah. He's just down the street. I'm actually going to one of his events that he's hosting with Andy Elliott tomorrow.
Oh, man.
But super cool. Yeah. So I saw you yeah, make those connections with everything that you're doing. And I love some of the videos that you're doing. What was the one that I saw a couple of weeks ago? It was like, send me a picture of you playing with yourself in the tub, and that shows you with the scuba gear and
Yeah,
everything. I was
the
like,
scuba goggles.
it was pretty classy because you're still like, you know, showing you, but not doing it in such a sleazy and dirty way. So I thought it was like really, really cool. You got a lot of traction from that. What's been your biggest video, and how many followers have you got from your biggest video? And give us a little bit of the mindset behind doing that. Or was it like a complete accident? Like, I think sometimes
It's
I post
always the
stuff
accidents.
I post stuff and I was like, oh man, this is going to be really good. And then it just flops. And then other stuff, I'm like, why did that do so good? That's stupid.
No, that's exactly how it works. I feel like because it's that's where like I'll throw stuff out all the time. I have so many different freaking platforms because for years the way I was monetizing was I got it down to a science where I could build like a new Instagram page and in
Mm-hmm.
90 days I could build it above 45 to 50,000 followers. But I stuck to a niche, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the back to your question, that oddly like recently I'll tell you one of my most popular videos because everything started with fishing, but also
Mm-hmm.
like I am a total like comedy, like I laugh a lot, I make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
jokes, some might be a little bit inappropriate sometimes, but mostly like I just like to have a good time, right? So it's like the goggles video that you said. But recently I did a video and it was a Santa Claus video around Christmas and I hit it just right timing and it was to an audio that wasn't even my audio, someone else's audio. And I just pulled the right faces and I gained like 8,000 followers from it and got, I think it was like 3 million views or likes on that one.
That's crazy.
So,
What was your, as that's happening and you're seeing the followers come in, what are you thinking is all that's going on?
I love it because it just gives me traction. I mean, sometimes you pull in the wrong type of audience, right? So like, that's one thing for me is like, it's really easy as a woman to be clickbait, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be like, I can post videos all day and be saying just about nothing. And if I have like a little cleavage, like then you get some views, right? But what does that translate over? Because my whole goal is if I'm doing social media, I don't want just eyes on my like pages. I want to be monetizing, whether it's through events or whatever. And so, for a minute there, I thought that that might be the route to go. And so I posted a little bit more content that way. And I still love the comedy. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm still going to throw comedy out there because that's just part of who I am. And I like to keep that authentic. But I do think that, you at the end of the day, it's not really about your followers. It's about the quality of the followers and
Mm-hmm.
who's there. And so I have all these different pages that I've built out, but my favorite one is my Relentless Mama page because I keep it pretty fishing and I keep it about me working on my pilot's license for helicopters and my boys. And
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't grow as fast, but it's where I gain the most like business and make the most, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sure
that's
you
what I
see
was,
that.
yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you too. And I know some women listen to the podcast, and I think it's easy to get clickbait. One of my best videos, I was in Cancun, and there's like, we're having a push-up contest. And so everyone in my friend group nominates me to go do this push-up contest. And come to find out, it wasn't a push-up contest. It was like a strip tease
Oh no.
contest. and um and yeah, but it's just like, how many like followers am I getting from that that's actually going to be interested in branding versus that other stuff. So what advice
Yeah.
would you give? Because I think how I feel to some sort, and I work with a lot of women, like use it to your advantage, right? Use your looks,
Yeah.
whatever you have going to your advantage. I don't know advice you would give to women out there when in trying to get followers and gain more eyeballs.
Some of the I got the best advice I think I had from someone once was, and it was hard for me to do that because I was like, that's not who I am. Like people see something on social media, but like behind the scenes, like I'm mom and I'm all these other things, and I'm like working my butt off to take care of these boys and do those
Mm-hmm.
types of things. So it's hard for me to post anything like that, right? Um, but I had someone say, what's any different than like a trust fund kid using his, the money that he's got or dad's jet or whatever to post on social media, like use what God gave you. And if you're a beautiful woman, you should, be the beautiful woman. And I think there's a fine line of being like classy, sexy. I like to call it like you can still be beautiful and all of these things while still like maintaining some class with that. And um, it is hard too because I see the whole space with like OnlyFans creators and all these other creators. And that's all changing really quick. And it's easy to grow a page like that. But I think at the end of the day, people need to think about where they're monetizing, like where is that going to go?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so for me right now, I'm building out a new business and I'm like, okay, every part of what I've been doing, I'm going to have to shift it because my end game is going to be a different animal. Like I'm going after a different type of client now. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have to start shifting all of my content to think, okay, what would be helpful for them? Like, so I think just thinking about what you're trying to do with social media. Where are you trying to sell? If you're doing, I have a friend that does baking, and she does baking TikToks and reels. Well, TikTok, if it's still there in a couple days, we'll see.
Right. Yeah. I
But
last I heard they were going to do like an extension to get the deal done or something like that. I actually would be shocked if they were able to really shut it down. There's so many people that have so much of their business. I have one friend, he was saying like every time he goes live on TikTok, he's pulling in like $5,000-$10,000 on clients. And
how
so
many followers does he have?
he has like 1 million followers or something like that.
What are his clients?
His clients he does financial planning, and he has like this nuance financial it's like a life insurance slash 401k
Mm.
type thing. Yeah, I need to get him on the podcast, but he does a really great job. And then some people I meet, kind of going back to the conversation, I've met with people that have, 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, and they're struggling to actually make money from their social media, which is just
Yes,
crazy to me. And then you see some other people, they have 500 followers and then they're just crushing it. So
that's so true.
yeah, I think people get so stuck on the numbers sometimes. And I think you got to look at, okay, well, who are you trying to attract? Who's your ideal client? And where you're eventually taking it, long term. But at the same time, I would say to you and exactly earlier, like use whatever advantage you have to you, as a thing. But I think you got to keep in mind what else you're trying to promote, long term as far as everything goes. Where are you taking it from here? Like what are your next steps with your brand and everything?
Yeah, so I finally decided. So I've helped people with social media for years, like because I've built other pages and I've just helped friends or other companies and come in and done stuff, but it's never been on my social media because I've been out there as a creator as far as social goes, right? You can create whatever you want people to see. That's what's kind of wild. But behind the scenes it's been building and being creative, and I kind of have that twist with me in my mind that I can come in and I can be like, okay, so this is your business, you're a car dealership, like how are we going to build you out, what's it going to look like, how are we going to have a creative like content team come in and build this for you and post for you. And so that's what I'm doing, and coming in and doing either consulting with their teams if they already have one and helping them connect the dots. For example, if they have like 5 employees running their marketing but nobody's really like working together or knows how to like do organic content, because I feel like too, moving forward, everything's shifting, like you were saying with influencers. You can have 1 million followers, and this is so true because I know several people with millions of followers right now that have no sponsors. They're not getting paid anymore. The big companies, I've talked to their marketing people, they're like, we're not going that route anymore. It's shifting very quickly. Like that was a
Yeah.
few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's to the point where, helping these brands figure out what can we do to create organic content. And you can do paid ads off of that, but or creators right now and the organic space, like anybody can become popular. Any brand can create any content right now that could go viral, and it's like you said, like it's the stuff you don't plan usually that goes viral. It's so weird,
Mm-hmm.
but having
What's
fun with it.
Give us some of your strategies and tactics behind like putting together your content. How do you decide what to post versus not post? Like what's your whole strategy in doing that?
Not overthinking it.
Not overthinking it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll post something, and then if it doesn't go well, I'll just take it down, and then I'll wait, and then I'll try again 3 hours later or the next day. Like something could hit right now and be like get 3 million views, and then or I could post it tonight at 6 and it gets like 200 views. That's what's freaking wild.
What has been your best time for posting? You feel like what's that? I feel like it's around that 5 to 6 o'clock is when I've been getting
Is it?
more. Yeah. What is
Yeah,
it for you?
mine's more 7 a.m. because I swear it's because I have all the hunting, fishing, and like aviation dudes in my audience. So they're all up early and like
Okay.
either
Okay.
running businesses. Like my whole audience is 89 to 99% male on every platform and all in the outdoor space. So 35 to 55, like that's my like sweet spot of like my audience. And I think a lot of them run businesses, their own businesses, or they're out doing outdoor type activities, which you're typically up at the, super early.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my thoughts have been, and based on my DMs and what I see come through. So
How do you deal with, because I imagine you have a lot of creep ass guys reaching out to you, and a lot of like people making rude comments. What's been the craziest situation you've ever dealt with in that whole aspect?
hmm, to be honest, I don't get that many bad
That's good.
ones. I really don't. But I'm also really quick to block people. If I see anything even slightly, I'm like, block, bye, like
Yeah.
gone. But I'm trying to think what some of my craziest have been. I don't know if I've had anything too crazy. Really just, like the other day I posted, hey, I have a really, really private page with my boys and I, and it shows like my kiddo playing ball, or like the high school he plays ball and stuff. So I don't put that on my public. I'm
Mhm.
very careful not to put like my license plate in anything or different things like that, right? Just because I worry more about people that don't say something than the weirdos that do. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? That's me though. I'm like, there's always the silent people, and those ones creep me out more than the ones that are saying something. If someone's saying something, I'm
It's
like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, I believe that's so true. I have a saying that says, "Love your haters, fuck your trolls." Trolls, you don't know who they are. They're quiet. Yeah, haters will at
Yeah.
least let you know who they are, and at least they drive the algorithm.
Yeah.
As far as everything goes. I had one client; they got 3,500 followers in one post, and it was kind of a stupid post, but they just got some haters just going aham. And then, once you get the haters coming in and making their comments, and it's just like, then you also attract that opposite, right? That are then counteracting. And then next thing you know, there's this argument on the page that's happening as far as everything goes.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I don't mind those ones.
yeah, I feel like you have to like emotionally disconnect yourself, from comments sometimes. A lot of people, especially women, don't put themselves out there because they're afraid of what, people might say. What advice would you give to those people that are afraid to put themselves out there, afraid of the what people might say and whatnot?
Well, I mean, you got to think about who's saying those comments. It's usually a keyboard warrior in mom's basement. Like it's someone that's so unhappy with their lives that that's what, if you're happy with your life, you're not going to be posted on other people's pages. And so I personally don't take it. I'm like, oh man, there's something that I have that they want, or that they want to keep following because there's something I'm doing that they are jealous of typically, right? I tell my 5-year-olds that. I'm like, if someone's mean to you, they're probably jealous. Like, don't worry about it. So that's kind of how I feel with that.
Before you're a hater first, before you're a hater, you're a follower first.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. You have to follow in order to hate. So that it really honestly just cracks me up that people follow someone else just to talk shit. It's like, really, you don't have
Yeah.
anything else better to do with your time than to talk shit with people. It
Yeah.
it literally just yeah, I can't comprehend it, but I don't really, like I was saying, I think there's a part where you have to start to embrace some of those things because it creates conversation. And there's a book by
Mm.
Patrick Bet David. I don't know if you've heard this, is Choose Your Enemies Wisely. Have you ever heard of that book?
Mm-mm, I haven't.
Yeah, it's really good. And essentially, like, everyone has an enemy to the brand. Like a personal trainer's enemy is the person that's doing the gastric bypass,
Yeah.
right? Or the one putting out, the diet pills. Like, everyone has an enemy within your brand. And
Mm-hmm.
so part of the branding process, in my opinion, is deciding who are your enemies, who's not going to be the person. And when you start to understand who the enemy is, and you start to understand and write down, I always have people do this as an exercise. This is a really powerful exercise. Write down what you think people are going to say about you before they even do, and have your responses of what you're going to say before them comes up. And so now when the response comes up, like, oh, you're stupid, or you're fake, or you're just whatever else you want to put out there, you already have a response. And so it's almost like you've emotionally guarded yourself before that is even come up.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
So it's been a good exercise. Um,
I do like that.
for yeah, for you, with everything, how old are your kids right now, by the way?
My oldest is 14, and then my twins are 5.
Twins are 5. Cute.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. What are your 5 years old into right now?
Oh my gosh, dirt biking and BB guns. they
Nice.
wanna they wanna start hunting so bad, and I'm like, okay, so I got them BB guns for Christmas, and we've been out there taking turns shooting freaking Coke cans and little targets, and
That's awesome. My
so
son just got into he has an electric bike right now, so he's
yeah.
been
Oh, like the Stasics or which ones?
I don't know exactly which one it is. Honestly, that's more on my ex-wife's side of it as far as everything
Mm.
goes. And I love that they're into that type of stuff. I
Yeah.
want my son to be in as many different activities as possible. This Saturday we're starting with basketball, so we were
Yay.
just at
How
the
old is
gym.
he?
He turns 5 here in a few months, so
Awesome.
yeah, so it's been pretty cool to go all that. He says he wants to be a speaker like his dad when he grows up, so it's
You
just the
know,
cutest thing. What's the most important thing that you teach? What do you think is the most important thing for your kids to learn? Because I know being a mom is important to you. What do you think's the most important for them to learn about business?
um, I think them doing what they love is the biggest thing. It's funny because I actually have been talking to one of my 5-year-olds is he's very analytical with the way he thinks and very like he's incredibly intuitive and smart and picks up on just everything around him, like smarter than some adults sometimes, and it kind of blows me away. And we
Yeah.
were talking the other day, and I said we were talking about when he grows up, and he said, I said, well, you can either work for someone else or you can have your own business. And he goes, what's a business? And so I started talking to him about it. And this summer, we're going to build him out like a little business. And I was like, you can either like make soaps and sell them or do art or like go roll in people's garbage cans for like $1 or something a week. Like, we'll figure it out. We'll run you a business. And he was like, yeah. And so I want to teach them the difference of like, I want them to understand. So they're so little, like, that you got to pay these costs. And then this is where you make your money and this is how you can build it. But I think now in today's society, like, I don't know. I'm not a big believer in college. Like I don't push that. You know what I mean? You're just going to end up in debt for something. And I know people that have, great degrees and they're just not making very much. And so,
Yeah, 100%.
so I'm a big believer with my boys. And if they wanted to, I would support that. But I'm like, you can build the life you want. You don't have to work for somebody else. You can totally love what you do. And that's the biggest thing, I think, you
Yeah,
know? So
absolutely. There's a concept I've been sharing a lot lately, and it actually came from Sam Taggart, don't you?
I know of him. That name's familiar. What
Yeah.
does he do?
He's owner of Door to Door Con. He does door-to-door sales training, coaching for people, hosts like one of the biggest expos in the world. He was
Cool.
there the night I saw you at Keaton Hoskins pre-party. I don't know if you
Oh, yeah.
Tom, but he talks about he has a book, Eat What You Kill. And he
Mm.
talks about the difference between a zoo lion and a wild lion. And a lot of the times, and this was me, it was coming out to the entrepreneur world, being this wild lion, but not realizing like I've been trained to be a zoo lion. Because
Yeah.
they say, some of these animals that are kept in the zoo, you can't reintroduce them to the wild because they legitimately don't know how to survive.
So true.
And so that's the same in entrepreneurism. Like if you grew up with parents that worked for someone else and you never saw, what that mindset was or the skill sets, and you weren't around people like that, you're just at a large, sharp curve that most likely you don't get around to really make it successful. So I think it's really important, just exactly what you're doing right now, is to get the kids thinking about those things. And I do the same thing with my son as well, as start getting them think about like, what does money mean, and saving up money and using money to buy things, and start to get that
Yeah.
understanding as far as everything goes. And so the most important thing, um, with me is, yeah, do something that you love, but also choose to be really great at what you're trying to do, and be
Hmm.
proud of whatever you create. That would probably say the most important thing for me to teach my kids.
Yeah, I love that. As I move forward with this new brand this year, I've spent a lot of time the last couple years around like really, really successful people. And I've learned several things, but I would say like my biggest goal this year moving forward, because it's near and dear to my heart. Like if there's a single parent that wants to make an income and a mama that's working a 9 to 5, if I can take her to help her build out a social media to make a business there, that makes me feel like super fulfilled. And so that's something this year that is a big focus for me, is to be able to help other single parents get from a spot that they can have more time with their kids and do what they love. Because that's been really cool for me to be able to do that. And anybody can do that. That's what's wild, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that it's just we're in a really cool space right now that literally anybody can grow a business. And if I can help them do that, oh, that's freaking the goal, right? And then um, I think the more I focus, at least this is where I'm at, is the more I focus on helping other people grow, the more that my business will just grow. And it's wild what happens when you do that, because I started in December building this thing out, kind of put some feelers out, but instead of me being like, hey, can you send me clients, or hey, can you help me with this? I've been calling my people and saying, hey, like, how can I help you this year? What do you need? Like, do you need me to post on my socials for your brand? Do you need me to come help you at an expo? Like, what can I do to help you? And automatically those people are like, oh, you're starting that business? Let me send you clients for this. And it's been just really awesome. So I don't know. That's been a big thing for 2025 moving forward too.
That's awesome. It reminds me of Zig Ziglar's quote: "You can have anything you want if you help everyone else get what they want first."
I so believe that.
Yeah.
Everything I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was telling someone the other day, I was like, personal branding is actually really counterintuitive sometimes. We think of a personal brand of all about us, but really it's about focusing on your audience and making sure that they empathize with the things that you're going through and delivering value. And so I think sometimes we get so caught up on ourselves. And I think that's really what holds people back at the end of the day. They're like, oh, I don't want to talk about myself and I don't want to make it about me. But that's how they perceive it. They perceive it. It's about you. And so now they hold back from doing it, when in reality, just the thing that they're focusing on is not the thing they should be focusing on to build that personal brand. So, right. Yeah, I love everything that you're saying about that. So thanks for coming on the podcast. How can people follow your journey and everything else? Go ahead and drop your Instagrams.
Yeah, for now, they can follow my Relentless Angler or Relentless Mama. Sorry, I almost said the new name. I'm like, I'm not announcing the new name of the new thing until it launches. But yeah, so Relentless Angler or Relentless Mama on Instagram is probably the best. Probably Relentless Mama, and it's MOMMA. So if they want to follow, that's the best spot.
All right. Love it. Hey, Jordan, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Love having you. A good conversation. If you feel like this can benefit someone, guys, please copy the link, text it over to somebody. Okay. Give me a review. Thanks for joining. Be inspired in what you're doing. Yeah, okay. Thanks. You are the brand X Factor. Share your story with the world, and we'll talk soon.
Hey, you have a story to share with the world, which means you need to get on more live stages. We have a jam-packed schedule in 2024 full of events, including our biggest event year to date, Brand X. Go to benextgen.com/speak. Again, benextgen.com/speak. Or you could just click the link in the description. Fill out an application. Our team will reach out to you and show you how our speaker partnership works. Get on a stage, give video, blow up your brand, blow up your business. Let's go.